this kid's show. It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found any reference to it anywhere, and I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on a weird time, like 4 p.m. Mike Painter, 65. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland, and I was like 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl. Skyshell033. Yes! Okay. I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls, like real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though. Jaren, 2005. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean, Skyshale. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I think I was 12 and I watched it for a few times with my brother. It was a channel 58? Whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news, let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was just called the Laughingstock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was this Calliope music constantly playing. Don't remember the little girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. Pretty sure it was Janice though. Skyshell033. Thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned Laughingstock and Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was this wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had this awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched with the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Mike Painter, 65. Haha, I remember now too. Do you remember this part, Skyshell? You have to go inside. Skyshell033. Ugh, I just got a chill reading that, Mike. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or dark room where the treasure was. And the camera would push in on the Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. With his 2 eyes askew, and that flopping foam jaw, and the fishing line that opened and closed it. Ugh, it looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall, narrow teeth. Kevin Hart. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when the show was on. It was nightmare fuel. Jaren, 2005. That wasn't the villain, the puppet with the mustache. That was the villain's sidekick, Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he only had 1 eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Taker. I can't believe they let us watch this back then. Kevin Hart. Jesus H. Christ, the Skin Taker. What kind of kids show were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings. Just a dirty skeleton wearing a brown top hat and a cape. His glass eyes were too big for his skull. Christ almighty. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was it supposed to be children's skin? Mike Painter, 65. Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close? His jaw just slid back and forth? I remember a little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the Skin Taker didn't look at the girl but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin." Skyshell033. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory. A bad dream I had with opening jingle ended and the show faded in from black and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces and they were just screaming, and the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically and screaming. The girl was moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. Kevin Hart. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode. Sky Shale 033. No. Not possible. There's no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place crying and screaming for the whole show. Kevin Hart. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Jaren 2005. Oh God, yes, the little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake and the skin taker screaming through his gnashing teeth, his jaw craning so wildly I would thought I'd come off the wire hinges. I turned it off and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Mike Painter 65. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the 70s and when I was 8 or 9 and if she remembered a kids show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked her why. And she said, because I used to think it was so strange that you said, I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom, and you would turn the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show.